This beat that you see right here open literally made me more than $5,000 in profit, not just from ad revenues you hear right here, but it also got me a couple of beat sales. And keep in mind, this is not the only beat that I managed to blow up like crazy. I have this one to 3 million views, this one got 2.8 million views, 2 million views, 1.7 million views, and so on. So definitely there's something that we can study on these beats. There's definitely some strategy that I'm using on all of these channels, because this is obviously my main one, but I have a shit ton of other channels. If you follow my channel, you already know about it. But I really want to go in depth on what I do in every single one of my videos that literally make them blow up like crazy. So not just about the algorithm wise of things, but also what I'm doing the actual beat, what I'm actually doing when it comes to making the beat. And the first thing that we should look at is obviously this graphic right here. The reason I decided to look at this beat and not maybe my most popular one is because I think this beat really goes to the point that I really want to show it to you guys. So I show this a lot of times on my channel, so if you have been following me, you know how much I've been stressing about this graphic and this beat in particular. But yeah, first thing that you really need to look at is this retention graphic right here. Particularly, let's focus on this blue line right here that shows basically, yeah, the retention of the beat that is being played on the video, right? And as you can see, even after 30 seconds of the intro, as it says here, beat literally drop after 30 seconds, you still have a way higher than average, retention graphic right there. So this is definitely a good sign for the YouTube algorithm. Apart from that, we also got a good click-through rate, which is 12.5%, which for 3 million views, it's pretty high. Don't get me wrong. And if you don't know what the click-through rate is, basically among all the impressions that your video gets, so it's basically these impressions are the amount of times that this video got shown to people in the home feed, people in the search bar, just scrolling through YouTube. And the click-through rate is basically the percentage of people that actually decided to click on that, which gives us 3 million views right there. Most of them come from YouTube search, because once your beats really start going, higher in popularity, that's where you're gonna get most of your views. But it started really blowing up from recommended videos. Now I'm also getting views from playlists, etc. But this is not really important for today's video. Now, I decided to open up a whiteboard just to make things clearer for you guys, because there's really some points and some steps that we need to cover. Now, let's go over step by step on what is making these beats really blow up and make the algorithm love them so much. Now, I want to go step by step, as I said, and let's talk about the first point, which is something that I don't see a lot of producers are talking about, and it's something that I kind of came up with. Don't take this too literally, but it's what I call the surprise effect. So let's write that down. Now, this is especially something that you apply to your intros, because if you don't know already, YouTube really values the first 30 seconds of your videos. That literally gotta be the most important part of all of your beats. And I'm saying this for actual YouTube knowledge that you guys should have, because a lot of producers have this misconception of type beats as some type of particular YouTube video, right? The truth is that they're just every other, single YouTube videos on YouTube. So you gotta be the fucking Mr. Beast of YouTube type beats. If he's like the goat of YouTube, the thumbnail god. So you gotta be like literally a goat when it comes to YouTube knowledge and knowing how the algorithm works. And if you know how it works, you know that in order to make the first 30 seconds really the most important part of your video, you gotta surprise the viewer. Now, it's not just obviously putting random shit and doing some crazy ass stuff to get attention. I usually like to break it down in these steps. So first of all, your video gotta meet expectations. So what I mean by this is obviously, you could have a great video, but if nobody clicks on it, nobody's gonna even listen to that, right? So when it comes to meet expectations, is you also gotta take in consideration the thumbnail and title and overall the niche that you're targeting, right? Now, I have a really good example. I mean, I can also take my channel as an example, but if you take a moment to scroll through all of my beats, you kind of get what is the vibe that I want to go for. Obviously, you don't expect these beats to be like some melodic ones. You don't expect these beats to be fucking Drake sounding R&B vibes type beat, because you see the title, Spurge type beat. He's a very underground artist. If you know him, he used to do like those aggressive kind of songs, freestyle songs, and then you also see the pictures. This definitely doesn't give you the vibes of something that is, chill in R&B vibes. So you create this expectation, as I said, that gotta be met by the beat. So you make people meet expectations in two ways. One, by obviously reflecting the type of niche that you're doing. I'm making splurge type beats. They're very aggressive, hard sound, freestyle beats. Obviously, I can do something different. And two, the beat gotta be extremely good, because obviously if an artist clicks off, that hasn't met their expectations. Because when you see a beat, you got a nice thumbnail, you got a nice title, you expect the beat to be hard, but if the beat is not there, people are just gonna click off. A very good example is this guy that is doing my same type of beats. He's actually also splurge type beats, but you can see what he's doing. He's also using these very aggressive, like, kind of thumbnails, to hood, guns, pictures. So you can tell these also are aggressive beats. So definitely, if you click on one of those beats and it actually plays what you were thinking, that definitely meet expectations. In a way, I like to say it like this: if you see a thumbnail of a type beat, you already gotta know how the beat sounds like before you even open it. And I know that sounds weird, but trust me, it's literally the formula that is making these beats work so well. Now, apart from that, that's after you meet expectations, so the beat sounds good and you also make something that makes sense in the niche that you're doing. That's where you start creating the surprise effect. Now let's go to my beat right here. Which one that made me more than $5,000? Let's see what we can take away from this video. Now if you take a listen to this one, now I'm gonna let it play right quick. What I want you to listen very carefully is to the intro. You got a sample right there. Now I won't say anything until the beat drop, so you get an idea. So here the beat is starting to drop.
Daniel, you made
You
this?
got like kind of melody part in here. Now here's the pause. Boom, the beat drops. And then basically keeps going like this. It's so dark, classic splurge type beat sounding beat. Now, first thing that you notice, I know what you're thinking. First of all, bro, this beat is generic as fuck. It even sounds stupid. How can this get views? Now, I know it's difficult. Let's break it down very slowly. And also, I know you have probably been like, why is that intro in this beat? It doesn't really make sense. That really reflects what I'm talking about here, the surprise effect. So, if you think about it, this beat's gotta sound gangster, freestyle, all of that shit that we're talking about. So when you hear an intro like that, that is like an old vintage sample, it kind of creates that contrast that really gets you, surprised, because you're not really expecting that right away when you click on one of these beats. But the reason it worked so well with this beat is because it wasn't something completely random. So this also reflects on what I was saying just a couple of minutes ago, right? Because this sample kind of gets you in the creepy vibe, something that these splurge beats do have, but it also creates a surprise effect because it's not something that you expect on a lot of these beats. Now, you can do this stuff in a lot of other ways. On my most popular videos, I usually put, like, for example, a sample in the beginning, like I did in this case, and then I make it drop to a completely different one. Or I put like a speech or a movie scene, or you could put like a low pass intro, some sound effects, literally whatever, bro. You can be creative with it. I actually started a wave of putting knocks, the 8D, I think you call them, knocks, those very realistic knocks. So that also is something that is making me stand out. But that's also these knocks are a surprise effect, because they have like you hear them in the right ear and in the left ear. If you listen to any of my beats, you know what I'm talking about. That scares the shit out of people, so they comment and simply makes the beat more engaging and people more likely to keep listening to my beat, right? So first point is very important. This is surprise effect, and I think I did it very well with this beat. And keep in mind, this is something that you can literally do with all of your beats, and it's always gonna make them blow up. A good example is also one of the producers from our community that really did that great. QSS, shout out to QSS. In this beat, Just Friends, he literally had a goated intro where it was like a speech intro, and then you have a sample, and then after like 40 seconds, you got the beat drop in. That's how he got so many views. So then also, once you find like the strategy that works for you, you can literally just keep going with it. And I won't say it will always work, but there's definitely a high chance that it will. Now let's go to number 2. So obviously this is important for the intro. Now let's talk about how to keep the viewers engaged, which is also very important, because if your watch time sucks, your video will never make it to the algorithm. So forget about getting views and sales. That will never happen. Now, we talk about the first 30 seconds and how they're so important. Also, I haven't mentioned it, but I think it was clear by this point. You gotta make the beat drop after this first 30 seconds because an artist want to freestyle over drums. I'm guessing. I mean, there's some rappers who actually freestyle on melodies, but that's not really the case of people looking up type beats on YouTube. So if they're waiting on the drums, they're waiting for the beat drop. So if you make them wait 30 seconds, that's a plus. Like that's another point for you and for the algorithm, because you're simply boosting your watch time by doing this. Now, plus you really need a good arrangement. Now, arrangement, it's kind of weird when it comes to type beats because a lot of those tutorials on YouTube really tell you how to arrange a beat to like a song, which is cool. Don't get me wrong, but the way I arrange this beat is pretty kind of different from what you will hear in an industry beat. There's a very big difference from the beats that you send out for placements to artists and the beats that you want to upload as type beats. Because a beat like this is very hard to be chosen by an artist. Because imagine they're scrolling and they hear an intro like this. They don't really have the patience to wait for it. And I know also what you're thinking, bro. Our attention span is so cooked. Like people can't even watch a 5-second TikTok. Imagine if they can wait 30 seconds or hear a weird intro like this and keep being engaged. Trust me, it actually works. Because if these beats are getting views, there's definitely something that is working with this method. Now, arrangement is particularly good because it keeps people engaged. It doesn't make the beat boring. So if you think about the arrangement as your editing software, that's where the mindset shift really comes. Because, obviously, to keep a video engaging, it's not really my case because I like to keep them authentic, like I'm talking, one-on-one to you. But in most of the videos from like popular YouTubers, you see maybe editing or there's a very good storytelling maybe, or there's even value, but there's still something that is making you keep watching the video. Obviously, we can't do that with type beats, right? Can we? So we need something else to keep the beat interesting and not make it sound boring so that people won't click off, and you do that by having a very good arrangement. Now, something very important that you should always do is switching something at least every 8 bars. Now, if we keep listening to the beat that I was playing before, you can see that I did that perfectly. First 8 bars, there's the sample. Second 8 bars, there's the no melody part right there. Then once the beat drop, you got like the 808 and the piano melody coming in. So this is already different from what I was doing before. So right here is pretty flat. Boom, another transition right there. After 8 bars, you got another switch up. Added the kick, another piano melody, and I can keep going like this forever, bro. It's literally gonna always be something switching up on this beat. Listen now. Look, another part. Remove the 808, the kick is not there. Clack piece not there, piano melody changed up a little bit. Now if we wait another 8 bars, something else is gonna change. Here, 808 coming back in. Boom. No melody part once again. So you see, I'm keeping the beat very engaging and very fun to freestyle on, because if a beat always sounds the same, an artist is gonna get tired of it. So you always gotta have we can call it even the surprise effect in this case, but it's kind of different from what I was saying before. You do that by having a good arrangement. Usually when you have an industry beat, you really have like an 8-bar melody, and then you have the hook repeated for like 16 bars. But actually for these beats, it's really good to just have everything changing after 8 bars. You don't gotta change the whole fucking beat, but just add something new. So for example, even if it's the hook that you're doing, don't leave the hook all the same. You could add, for example, I don't know, kicks, or another 808 pattern, or add another melody on top of the main one. So that still adds up to something to the beat that you're doing. And now last part, I'm leaving this for last because I won't say it's obvious, but trust me, there's still a lot of producers who are getting this wrong, and it's your fucking mix, bro. Now don't get scared by this word, because I know us as producer, we tend to spend hours on our mix and we think that it never sounds right. I know you probably seen all those memes, when you mix the beat on your headphones and then you listen it to the car and it fucking sucks. It's dog water. Well, obviously that's funny, but we don't want to do that for our type beats. I actually have a strategy for my mix, and it's not about what I put on my master chain, because I'm telling you right away, I literally just put a soft clipper and a fruity equalizer to boost the high hands a little bit. There was a shit ton of producers asking me what I was putting in my master chain. Right there, now you know it. It's literally just a soft clipper and an equalizer, and that's everything you need, really. So you don't need crazy shit. The only thing that you need to get right though is the sound leveling. Trust me, that's so important. So we're doing type beats, and remember when I said that artists really want to freestyle over drums, you gotta make them stand out because that's what they're waiting for. So if they're waiting for a beat drop and there's weakest drums onto it, they're not gonna freestyle on that, obviously. Now, how do I get drums to stand out? How do I know if my mix sounds good? I know that's a very common question. And the way I did that when I was starting out, actually, I started out by making my Young Chris beats. They were the first one that I was uploading to YouTube. But basically, what I was doing, let's say we want to do freestyle beats, right? Let's look freestyle beat. If you really want to focus on your mix, I would say listen to the best performing beats on your niche that you want to do. In this case, for example, let's say we want to do freestyle beats. Now I will listen to the top performing beats. Like for example, this one got 15 million views. And if I click into it, I start listening to it, and I see how these producers are mixing their beats. So now it can take a couple of seconds to listen to it. Let's skip to the beat drop. Alright, very punchy drums. You see how they're standing out, they're very clear. So what I would do is then, after I listen to these beats and I kind of get an idea of how they sound like, I make my beat. But then when I finish it, I don't just export it like that. I play my beat and then I play one from another producer that is getting very good numbers and is very successful in the niche that I want to do. Like for example, this guy, and I compare the sound. So if my beat is sounding very weak compared to this one, maybe that's how I know I really got a level on my mix. And if you really wanna, or maybe I got a level of my sound selection or the sound leveling, all that stuff. There's still something off, and that's how you notice that. So maybe you can watch some more tutorials or kind of get better music. But if you don't compare yourself, and I know it's bad to say compare, but that's what actually you gotta do to know if you're ready to enter the market of the niche that you want to do. And that's what I used to do when I started. And trust me, these three things right here are literally the three go-to steps that you always gotta follow in order to have a successful beat. I can guarantee you that if you listen to any successful type beat on YouTube, so like you can literally look type beat and start listening to the most to the ones that are getting the most views. They always respect these criteria here. They have a surprise effect intro. When you click onto a beat, you meet expectations of what the thumbnail and title was giving you. Then you have a very good introduction, as I said. First 30 seconds, they make that count a lot. A very good arrangement where there's always switching up something, and the beat is very clear and clean, so the artist will keep freestyling on your beats. Boom, right here is all of my formula that I follow in every single one of my type beats, and that always makes me get very good amount of views and beat sales, and that has helped me my channel grow to over 100k subs in less than 2 years. Now, if you're interested in working one-on-one with me seriously, where you have access to me, you can DM me the word apply on Instagram, and I'll see if I have spots available for my program. Apart from that, I really hope you got some value out of this video, and I'll see you in the next one with more songs and more gems for y'all. So peace out.